Muévete en el espejo, muévete en el espejo, enamórate del...
Camera, action.
Rolling. I only have 3 things to say because I know Jay has a haircut. I know Jay has to go get his haircut. So I only brought 3 things for us to talk about. And if you guys have something else. And my lazy eye is kind of fucked up, but it's okay. So this guy, first of all, there's so much shit happening in the news right now, right? Because of the active G word in the Middle East. So I feel like that kind of offsets all the other news. And then the TikTok ban, obviously, I feel like all the other news got so old because then the TikTok ban is like taking over the news. I don't know. How do you guys feel about the TikTok ban? What are you going to do? What are we going to do with no TikTok? Well, I don't think it's about not having TikTok. I think it's more about the censorship of the new... Because what are they saying? Like, if they don't buy TikTok, if the U.S. can't acquire TikTok in the next week, then it's gone, right? Or something like that?
6 months.
Oh, 6 months? So if the U.S. can't acquire TikTok in the next 6 months,
They will ban it.
they're going to ban it, which they are. Because even if they were to keep TikTok, if it's as censored as, I don't know, Instagram and Facebook, it's going to be hella dry on there. It's going to be so boring on there. It's not going to be like the same. What do you think, Will?
I think it might be good for us. You know what I mean? It might be good for us. They might sell it to us like they do on Instagram, but they say that China's TikTok is nothing like ours. Like China's TikTok is, you know what I mean?
Censored?
Censored
Like
and
educational.
yeah, educational and like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like meant to, yeah, time limit. It's meant to do good for people than like just stupid entertainment, trying to get famous or become an influencer. You know what I mean? So I feel like hopefully they don't just charge us to do the same shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then just take out information that they don't like. Hopefully it's a way to like stop the influence. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
just like promoting and like, you know what I mean? Or yeah, or just really just taking away, you know what I mean? Taking away us being able to talk on there, you know what I mean?
It says like if you're caught after it's banned, if you're caught using a VPN, it's like a $50,000 fine or something like that. It's a huge punishment. Like they really want to ban it.
And I see this as a sale, right? Like you're using something in our country and it's really, really popular and it could make a lot of money and it controls it, so we need that. You know what I mean? We need that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whatever you want to do, we need that over here. You can keep it on your side, but we want to control it the way you guys control it on your side. We want to control it on like that.
Mm.
So
I was watching this video that said it was this girl talking about it, and she was just basically saying like it's all that. It's basically like how TikTok has a lot of information that is not censored, meaning like people are on there getting healthier because they're learning that all these things are bad and all this and that. So the U.S. doesn't want that. They're like, do you really think it's for our well-being when like obviously like hospitals are not cheap? Like they're not focusing on really what's really gonna help us. Like they're focusing on how to control like how they help us. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how they've been doing like.
Certain tool, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I do know that in Asian countries it's more regulated because there's more like online addiction awareness, right? Because it's probably gotten really bad. I mean, it's pretty bad here. But I don't think it gets as much attention as it does over there because I feel like academia is really important in those countries like China, Japan. I don't know that many countries. But I know that in those countries, being in school and doing well in school is culturally very important. Like in your family, in your community, it's really important to have good education, have good grades. Here, not so much, right? Like if you're TikTok famous, that kind of holds more weight in your community than if you're hella smart and have like straight A's. So it makes sense that it would have that kind of censorship over there, or that kind of a regulatory system. And here they're just like, whatever. Like Andrew said, it's better for us to be sedated because sedated people make a lot of money, make the country a lot of money. So I think they just want, you're right, they just want their piece of that. I don't know. I kind of just like what did Jesus say? Let Caesar deal with what is Caesar's, right? Like that's not even our business at the end of the day. It has nothing to do. Really, like what are we going to do? I feel like when I watch the news, or even when I watch these conversations, or how Nancy Pelosi's like, TikTok, tic-tac-toe winner. It's like, girl, you go to bed. Like, you need to lay down. This is an old ass lady. Did you see her say that? She's hella old. Like, I'm like, what is going on? It feels like Adult Swim on the news. Like it feels like between two ferns up there. It doesn't seem real. It doesn't seem real. So I don't know. I think I'm just curious to see how people are gonna advance past the social media stuff, because I think we've always known that it's not a stable place to hold anything, like your data, your media. Any day, like YouTube can just shut down, all your hours of videos are gone. Right? Or like Instagram can shut down, all of your memories with your photos are gone. All of Twitter can shut down, all of your tweets are gone, your contacts are gone. So I think that it's really important for people who have brands to start newsletters or start collecting your emails from people that are subscribed to your brand, that have bought into your brand. Start connecting with people outside of social media is really important. I always say, like, I've met so many people across the country. I've taken trips. I talk to people on the phone. Like, I have people's numbers. I've invited them here. Like, we've met people here from all over that, you know, maybe you started your friendship online, but now you're in real life friends. So I think all of those things are going to be more important in this year. Or I hope that more people pay attention to that, pay better attention to that. And then also, I guess, like, finding new places to get information, right? Because I feel like what was TikTok was just, like, information, like a database, right? And if you can't go to TikTok, and Google is, I don't know, I feel like sometimes Google's, like, not the best place. People are paying for SEO like every day, you know. People are now there's like, I don't know, it's getting kind of murky online space. So I feel like finding alternate ways and finding alternate places to get our news, our information, our media. Honestly, I feel like just talking to the people around you more, because there's people that have a lot of information to share, and you wouldn't know because you never talked to them, or you wouldn't know because the opportunity hasn't come where you need that information, right? So I think being more curious in your own community and the people that you know at work, or reaching out to some of your old contacts to make sure that those contacts are still live, you know? I think that's going to be something that definitely comes up for the year 2024. So something that happened in the media recently that for me was like a really big deal was this guy, Jay Shetty. And I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's from the UK, I think. And he's a podcaster, and he's an author. So he has this podcast called On Purpose, and he's interviewed like the coolest people. He's interviewed really high status celebrities like the Kardashians, the Jenners. He's recently he did like Tom Holland. I think he's even interviewed like Joe Biden. Like,
The guy in the suit?
no, he's like this. He looks Middle Eastern. He has green eyes. He's interviewed tons of people though, And he has like a really, really popular podcast. And the podcast is like mental health. He talks about love. He talks about like esoteric, spiritual stuff. And apparently, he wrote this book called Think Like a Monk about his experiences being a monk in India. And it's filled with like parables. And, he's just like this like spiritual dude. So recently there's been allegations that he's not a monk. He never went to India. Apparently he might have been in a mansion in the UK making YouTube videos. And so basically his book is bullshit. And then also he claims to have a degree in psychology, but really he just has a business degree. And then he has this really short thing that he did that's like a certification for life coaching. And that's like his credentials. And they're slamming him and he's just ignoring it. Like he's not even addressing it. He's just meditating really hard at home. But it's like, dang, he built this career. Like he's interviewed like the greats of our culture. He's interviewed like really successful people. But something someone said, I was actually watching a TikTok about it. And he was saying something that struck me about Jay Shetty is that he's really obsessed with celebrity culture. And when you go and you're a monk, you basically strip yourself of all those like worldly things. So he was like, something that has not been convincing about him is that he's really obsessed with celebrities and he's really obsessed with being famous. So he was like, something about that didn't add up. So now this is coming out. I think his career is over. I don't think he can come back from this. I don't know who would want to go back. I don't know who would want to go to his podcast and be interviewed by him after these allegations, Especially if he claimed like, that's really serious, like going and being a monk and like stripping yourself of like your worldly desires and going and I don't know what they do, like shave their head, they don't eat fried foods. I don't know. I don't know. They like pray a lot, right? Like they don't use their phones. And that he would claim that. Also like the educational degree claim, like, come on. I feel like it's okay if you're lying on your resume if you're going to like work a job and you're like, I have an associate's degree. And they're like, okay, we don't need to see your associate's degree. But you have a fucking podcast and you're interviewing like all the celebrities in Hollywood and like talking to psychologists and you don't have a fucking degree.
They were like, you ever been a monk? And he was like, yeah.
I have actually.
Yeah. Let me Google something really quick.
So that was, I don't know. To me, it's like disappointing.
But he's a business. He majored in business.
He majored in business. Yeah. He's doing his job. He's just definitely getting canceled. Like, there's no coming back from that, which is it's just upsetting. And I think a lot of things are coming to the light this year. I think it's like in the astrology where everything is like the veil is coming undone. Everybody can see through everything. And I feel like we're getting to see, usually we would only see the I guess you could call it like the interface of stuff. And then now I feel like we're getting to see the back end, a lot of us on a great scale. If you're looking close enough, like you're going to start to see the cracks and everything and the back end of how everything is working. Like the politicians are so fucking old and it's just getting real. Like even the marketing, I'm signed up to a lot of marketing emails, like 4, and I just like to learn about what's going on in marketing, what's the marketing about. And something that keeps coming up is like Gen Z is shifting marketing. And people our age want to see what's real. They want to see the back end. They want to see the flaws. They want to see where it's fucked up. I saw this TikTok and the city was saying that if you have a brand, your brand experience has to be seamless. It can't just be... I feel like when you had a brand back in the day, you didn't have to do much to connect with your consumer. Like if you're making a stove, the only thing the stove needs to do is like not burn your house down, right? You don't need to have like an aesthetic or a spokesperson or like, I don't know, like something that comes with your stove, like a t-shirt. Like you don't need to have that. You just have one thing that works. And then now I think our generation is more, they want more out of the experience, and then we want to see what it really is. So we're looking at labels. We're looking at the effects that this stuff has on our bodies. We're looking at where the shit comes from, who's making it. Are they making it ethically? You know, is it polluting the ocean? Is it polluting the world? You know, are little kids making it? Is the owner of the company racist, right? Like, these things are now important where they weren't in the past. So similarly with that, I think that a lot of the back end things that we didn't see in the past, not only are we getting to see it, but it's almost like the norm, and it's expected that they be exposed. Okay, the last thing I wanted to share. This one's really funny because I know you guys don't watch TV that much, right? Only like what is that show, Suits, or The Bear, or what do you watch, Jay? That's what he watches. No, so I usually don't really watch like reality TV. The only reality TV I really love is like Real Housewives. I love like Real Housewives of New Jersey and like the crazy Italian ladies, and they're fucking hella rich, and they be embezzling money, and their husbands go to jail. Like, I love that shit. And they're crazy. They got hella Botox. Like, they look like a leather bag. I love those ladies. That's like my favorite kind of reality TV. But a friend of mine is dating this guy that's working on the set of Love is Blind. So I was like, I really hope she marries this guy. So I'm going to watch Love is Blind to support their new family. That hopefully happens. So I started watching Love is Blind. That show is, first of all, is fucking crazy. Like, watching it, I felt crazy. Like, so many emotions. So if you never watched it, I'm sure a lot of people have. They put the contestants in these pods. And basically the pod is a room with a microphone, and they can talk to each other. And they fall in love, right? And it's so cringy, girl, because how do you fall in love with that guy? You don't know how he looks. You've never seen his car. You've never seen his shoes. Like, how do you those are the important things. You've never seen anything about him. I guess if he's on the show, he looks pretty good, because it's like they wouldn't have put a bad-looking person on the show. But you don't know nothing about these people. So anyways, they're in the pods, they're talking, they fall in love. And the whole time I'm like, am I broken? Because I don't like this. Like, I don't believe it. This feels and seems fake. So I'm watching it like a few episodes at a time, and I'm like, okay, this is fake. This is totally scripted. But then I Googled it, and it's actually not scripted. It's actually very real. And all of the episodes are out. So this isn't a spoiler, but one couple gets married. So a few of the couples, like, basically, when you're in the pod, the guy asks the woman to marry him. And then the woman will either say yes or no. So a bunch of people got engaged from the pods. And then only one couple ended up getting married. So they leave the pods, and then they go move into their homes together. And then they decide if they like each other or not. Because now they're in the home, and they're hanging out with other people. And most of these people are so shitty. Like, they're terrible fucking people, or it just feels not real. And then one of the couples got married, and okay, this is what was crazy. One of the couples didn't get married. They went to the altar. They didn't get married. And the guy basically just gaslights the girl the entire fucking time. Like, they'll just be having a regular dinner, and then he'll start talking, and then as soon as he starts getting deeper and deeper into his conversation, he'll be like, I'm just really scared to cheat on you because my dad cheated on my mom a lot growing up. Like, every conversation he eventually starts talking about.
This is while they're in the pods?
This is when they already came out of the pods. Then he starts talking about how he's scared to cheat on her, how he really loves her, he doesn't want to fuck it up. And then he convinces her, obviously, to marry her. They go all the way to the altar. And then at the altar, she says yes and he says no. And it's like, girl, you knew he was going to say no. Like, he been told you he doesn't really like you that much. Right? So I'm like, oh, my God, this is crazy. But then the other people got married. And then I just cried the entire time. I just cried the entire... Seriously. The entire time they were getting married, I just cried so much. And I think it was because, first of all, I had so much trauma from watching the other couples. Like, obviously it didn't work. And then me feeling like, is this really how people like get along with each other? Like, am I broken? Am I never going to find love? Because if this is what love is, like, I don't want that. But then to see them get married and then like basically confess their love in public with their families there, it like meant it. You could tell it meant a lot. And also they were the most boring couple, so I'm like, I feel like, I don't know, it just said so much. And I think something that I took from Love is Blind, at least from the couples that didn't work, is that I don't know, this show obviously like exploits relationships. It exploited a relationship all the way to the burning point of like saying yes or no at the altar. And then when the guy says no, his family backs him up. And his family's like, oh, it's okay. You did the right thing. You weren't ready. It's like, bitch, you brought me all the way over here. Her granny was there. Like, you humiliated her in front of her mom and her granny. Like, that's fucked up. And it just put me like in a, I don't know. I feel like it put me in like, it gave me this perspective of the general consensus is it's okay to exploit a relationship, get everything you need from it, and then dispose of it. And then there'll always be somebody there to enable you, like your raggedy ass dad. His dad was so raggedy. I hated both of them. And then when he starts talking like, you know how athletes talk at the end of a game? And he's like, oh, it was a close call. And like, we did really good in the first half. That's literally how he talks. He's so fucking annoying. I hate him. I hate that guy.
What you get from marrying a speaker?
Oh my God. No, it didn't sound like that. And obviously he's afraid of commitment. I feel like that's another thing. I can't really talk about that because I feel like I'm also very afraid of commitment. That's something that I could relate, but I would never convince someone to marry me and then say no at the altar. So, but he's afraid of commitment, and I feel like a lot of, especially guys, they're like very much afraid of commitment, and it's almost comical. Are you gonna be able to see the smoke in the camera? Right here. I feel like guys are so afraid of commitment at times that it's like almost funny. And I have some examples from my own life and like from friends of mine, and I wrote them down because I just thought it was so funny. When a guy like wants you around but he doesn't want to be with you, right? So they've come up with the craziest shit to say, and I feel like, bitch, you should have known in the moment that he said that he was not going to be shit and he was going to ruin I wouldn't say the rest of your life, but like he was going to put you through like a terrible time. Okay. So these are some of my favorite ones. I had a friend, right? And she kept asking her man, or it wasn't really her man. It was like this guy she was talking to. And she kept asking him, why don't you ask me to be your girlfriend? You know, like we're talking, you come over all the time. And he told her, because the words boyfriend and girlfriend have end in them, and me and you is forever. And me and you is forever. I was like, bitch, and what did you say to him? She was like, I don't know, I guess it was kind of cute. Was it cute? Did you? Okay. I know, Andrew's like, okay. My other friend was dating this guy, and, you know, everyone has different, like, I guess you could call it like a love language or like a style of showing affection. So his style of showing affection was giving gifts, right? So I think when you give a gift and when you accept a gift, that can, sometimes it is like intimacy depending on what the gift is, but just the act of giving a gift is intimate, I would say, to some people. So the guy was like really scared off from him giving him a gift. And they'd been talking, they were into each other. So they had this joke with the Mexican blanket. And my friend goes and gives this guy a Mexican blanket. And the guy was so scared from the act of intimacy, right? Of receiving the blanket. He didn't want to receive the gift from him. So the guy tells him, I can't accept this gift because there's polyester in it. And in the Bible it says we shouldn't mix fabrics. Bitch, what? Take my fucking blanket. He didn't want to have something in his house that the guy gave him. You know, it's like he was afraid of commitment. And then I was dating this guy once.
I just think he don't like Mexican blankets.
No, they're both Mexican. He likes Mexican blankets. You're telling me a Mexican doesn't like a Mexican blanket? Who cares what's in it? Inhale the microplastics. Who cares if there's polyester? What the hell? He obviously was like shading him, you know? I had this guy once. I was dating him for not that long, maybe like 4 months. And, you know, it was like, I don't know. I think 3 months is fair. Like a 3-month mark is fair. And like the 3-month mark had passed and I was kind of waiting like to see if it was going to get serious or not. He takes me to his family party where there's like all of the generations of his parents and his uncles and everybody, the little kid, everybody, people from other countries was there. And he introduces me as his girlfriend to everybody there. And I was like, I couldn't be like, oh no, I'm not his girlfriend, you know, because it's like, I'm not going to tell your fucking grandma from wherever the hell she came from that I'm not your girlfriend. That's embarrassing. And then at the end of the night, I asked him, I was like, why did you introduce me as your girlfriend and you never asked me to be your girlfriend? He's like, oh, it just hasn't ever come up. I was like, it just hasn't ever come up. Like, just because you're supposed to bring it up. So I feel like, I don't know, sometimes we give people too much of the benefit of the doubt. And I think that girl in the show, in Love Is Blind, she gave him too much of a chance to, you know, to have her fucked up. So she should have known. She should have known then.
That shit was scripted.
You think it was scripted? It actually,
Don't you got people that...
Yeah, ask the guy. Yeah, but it's not scripted because when I watched the reunion, I felt like the reunion. Okay, so it's Nick Lachey. You know who Nick Lachey is? You know who Jessica Simpson is?
Yeah.
Okay.
From 98 Degrees.
Yeah, so it's Nick Lachey and his wife, and this is their show. And like, there's hella controversy in the show, like, especially this season. Like, one of the guys who was in the show, his ex-fiance came out and was like, why is my fiance on the show if we're like engaged to be married? So it was like hella drama. And then it turns out that he had left her before the show started or something like that. And then there's this other guy on the show, and apparently right when he left the show, he got casted out. He was hitting this girl, telling her like, I can't wait to be back with you. I want to get married. Like, I love you. And then she let the producers know that had been his girlfriend the entire time. And then they address all of these things on the reunion. Like, is this true? And then he even said it. Nick Lachey was like, I never want anybody to come on this show and use it as an opportunity for fame. We always want this to be a place where people find love and get married.
But sign up.
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that show. I probably wouldn't watch it again. I thought it was a waste of time. I only watched it because hopefully my friend marries that guy. And she said, so a big part of the show is like they have these cups, right? Like these metal cups that they drink out of every time someone's drinking a drink, it's out of those cups. And then yesterday she called me and she goes, why he brought me a cup? I was like, oh my God, that's so epic. That's so epic to have a Love Is Blind cup. They probably have a sponsorship from someone. Okay, so the last thing that I do want to talk about is something really special that's happening. Something really special that's happening right now is that I decided to restart my crypto journey. So I got introduced to crypto Oh my God. You guys will never believe the first time I heard the word Bitcoin. I'm actually on the hunt for this guy. Hopefully we can find him, huh? Hold on, okay. Hopefully one day this guy will resurface. And honestly, I can't remember his name, but his name might have also been Gabriel, like me, like Gabriela. But, okay, this is a story. So I used to work in the ferry building at Press Juice. And then right next to the Press Juice booth was a People's Donuts, right? And People's Donuts is like a vegan donut company from Oakland. And vegan donuts are really special because if you're allergic to eggs or if you're vegan, you can't eat eggs, so you can't have donuts. And like obviously everybody wants a donut, right? Like how can you be American and not eat donuts? So the vegan donut place was really popular. And then I think they changed it to Pepple's Donuts because People's was like too, I don't know, revolutionary. They wanted it to be more white people friendly. So that now it's called Pepple's Donut, then they changed it to Pepple's Donuts. And the owners, or the owner, one of the owners had a son. And he used to live in a trailer outside of a Burnt Ramen. And I used to see him on the BART because we'd both ride BART back to Richmond, right? So he was my homie, and like we'd worked right next to each other, and I just knew him. He was kind of like, I don't know, he had stringy hair. If you know where Burnt Ramen is and you know what Burnt Ramen is, he lived in the trailer outside. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say about bruh. So he was cool though. I really liked him. And one day, right? So we're at work, and this was like, I want to say this was like 2013. No. It's probably like 2014 or 15, around there. Maybe closer to 2014. So we're at work, and he's like, Gabriela, I really need to tell you something, but let's wait till everybody leaves. And I was like, all right. So me and him had a closing shift together. So everybody leaves, we're cleaning up, and I was like, okay. So I'm waiting all day for him to tell me this, right? So I'm like, oh, he probably got teased, something happened, I don't know. Someone's getting fired, something, right? And just to like preface, I had just got my first iPhone. So right before this, like literally months before this, I had like a Metro PCS Android. So I didn't know nothing about technology. I had been shooting film, I think, but I would shoot on this big camera that you hold like this. Like I had no technology, like I was not tech savvy at the time. So that's just preface, right? So everybody leaves. And then, I find him. I'm like, what happened? He says to me, I'm mining Bitcoin. And I was like, what the fuck is a Bitcoin? I'm like, you made me wait all day to tell me that you're mining Bitcoin. I don't even know what that means. And then he starts explaining it to me. He's like, well, it's basically currency. You're going to be able to buy stuff with it. Like, you're going to be able to check out. And he's like, I have this thing that's just collecting it all day. And I was like, okay. Like, what does that even mean? I literally had zero clue what he meant. And I was kind of mad because I was so excited for the cheese met all day. And he just told me, like, this stupid fucking Bitcoin news. I'm like, okay. So he literally would tell me, like, this is how much Bitcoin I have. This is how much Bitcoin I have. And it was kind of a lot at the time. I don't really remember, like, specifically the number. But I just remember him being, like, really excited because it was a lot. And I don't know where he is now. So I don't remember his name. I wish I could find him. But that was the first time I ever heard the word Bitcoin or anything about cryptocurrency. And I never heard it again until the last run, which was in 2019 or 2020? It was like 2020. I think for me it was like the end of 2020 and the beginning of 2021 maybe was when I was like more exposed and was like more involved and stuff like that. I do have to say though that it was not by choice. Like I didn't go out and look for it, and I didn't really want to do it. Like I wasn't interested in it. I don't know. It just felt, I don't know. It was not my thing, and I didn't like it, and I didn't like that I had to participate, and I was very uninterested. And I think also we had just come out of the lockdown, like the pandemic lockdown. Like people were kind of like going back to reality. And I think for me, I kind of still felt like I could just get a job and work my job and like keep running my brand and look for the next opportunity to like make a living, right? And it wasn't really like something that I looked at least for myself, as an option to make income or to even like, I don't know, to learn, to gain value from it, even from a informational point of view. Like I was just like, whatever, this is like nerdy and like GameStop vibes, you know? Like I don't really hang out with the GameStop people that much. So like if they're talking about like little tokens and they're hella juiced, I'm like, oh no. That's not how I want to spend my time. That's how I felt at the time, right? But at the time I was also working with a brand. I was like super, super into it. So part of my job, my employment was being involved in it. And I was just not interested. And then it kind of passed, and remember, like everything tanked. And honestly, when it tanked, I was so relieved. I was like, oh my God, please get this shit out of here. Like, I don't want to deal. I never want to hear like any of this shit ever again. But this run, I feel like, we have seen the effects of the pandemic, and we have seen the effects of the lockdowns, and we have seen the effects of even just giving people stimulus checks with like no instruction on what to do with the money or how to use it. I feel like for a lot of undeserved people, I feel like it just put us in more debt, or like it just created more drama around your money, because it's like, oh, I had like $20,000 during the lockdown, and then now I can't even find a fucking job. And I wish I had the $20,000. I wish the government would give me like $20,000 more dollars. You know, it just made like it created a lot of confusion, and like, I don't know, even like those PPP loans, like people are going to jail for the PPP loans. Like there's a lot of things that are coming back up from that time. And I think the crypto run can fit into one of those things, because now it's like coming back up, and I think people have a different perspective about the crypto. I definitely do. I feel like for me, it feels and it sounds more attractive because there's already been a lot of trial and error. So whatever happened in the last run where people lost all their money, at least they know not to do it again. Or at least there's already tried methods of what not to do. And I feel like there's so much more information. The people are so much more sober. I mean, not sober like as in like substances, but I feel like it's more of a sober environment, at least in my experience. Like when I go on the Twitter spaces, or when I read my Twitter, even when I go on like TikTok, I watch TikToks about it. It's a more sober and grounded community and concept than it was in 2021, during the last run. And to me, that's interesting. I also feel like as someone who doesn't have a degree, I never got a formal education. It does present an opportunity to have a life-changing amount of income just land into your bank account. And it takes it a step further, because it wouldn't even be like your US dollar bank account. It would be this like Harry Potter ass bank account where you could just use the money any country in the world, and like it's more expensive than a dollar, you know? So I've actually been hanging out with my friend Andrew, and he's actually here. I'm looking red. And he's been educating us a lot about crypto. I feel like something that always happens to me, and honestly, this is just a humble moment, and I'm really grateful to God, is that whenever I need something, it comes and finds me. And it makes me have like imposter syndrome sometimes. Because even with this, right, like even with the music stuff, even with this, the podcast stuff is like the moment that I received the download that that's what I was going to do, and that was my next course of action, all the pieces just fell into place. And then I walked in here and the sign was up and the chair was here and Jay had the computer on, and then now there's the podcast, and now there's like all this content online, and there's all these opportunities. These people come together. Now there's a platform that can turn into anything I want, and I wouldn't say that the work was minimal, but on my end, all I had to do was create value for myself and learn and be ready and show up in a good mood and be willing to do the work. And then everything just like happens. So I feel like when I saw that this run was like happening and it was live and people were on, I hit up my friend Mike, and he set up all of my wallets on my iPad. And then luckily I hang out with Will, and Will's like on the computer looking at the chart all day long. So I'm like in the environment where I'm always exposed to it. So it makes me excited about it because I see that people I care about are also excited about it. And it makes me feel really safe because I feel like I have a lot of support from people that I know and trust to teach me all the things that I need to know. So I'm really excited to learn more about crypto, and I really, really want to bring everybody that has been supporting me with the podcast to come with me on my journey to learn crypto. And I feel like this is a great opportunity, honestly, just to learn and to weigh your options. Because if you're somebody like myself, you never got a formal education, you don't come from rich parents, nobody has a trust fund waiting for you. Now they're like, what is that called? They're threatening our Social Security, So there's all these things happening in the world. Also, I feel like it helps us to see the back end. Just like I said earlier, how for such a long time, we only saw the interface of a lot of things. And for the first time in a long time, I feel like we're getting a chance to see like all of the cables in the back of the computer, not just how it works in the front. So we get to be in the back of the computer. We get to move the cables. We get to build new computers. And we're at our prime age. Like I just turned 33. I feel like when I think about people who are creating and shifting culture every day that have a fully developed frontal lobe, it's people like myself. So that's really exciting. Another thing that's super interesting to me is that for my whole entire life, right, since I was a kid, I've always studied and immersed myself in esoteric and spiritual concepts. And when I hear people talk about crypto, and when I watch the crypto videos, I feel like when I hear people talk about crypto in depth, it's just that. It's like all the symptoms of enlightenment, all the steps to enlightenment, complete freedom and security within that freedom, doing right by others, right? Because when they say decentralized, it means that there's not a lot of people doing checks and balances. There's not a lot of systems put in place. So there's always going to be both sides of the coin. But in my personal experience, the idea is that you're going to win and you're going to do so well by others that everybody's going to win. I think a big fear is whenever people get richer, people have to get poorer in order for people to get richer, right? I feel like with crypto, the overall consensus is if people get richer, then more people get richer. And there's always a benefit that trickles down. Also, it feels really attractive to me because it's a new world, not new world order, but new world concept where crypto doesn't fit in our old world. The computers couldn't handle it. The people couldn't have been able to come up with the pay meme, bitch. Are you joking? Like, nobody could have came up with dog with hat in the 1980s, right? Like, who would have come up with that? This is a brand new concept that would not have fit in the old world. People wouldn't have been able to conceive this. So it's definitely it was birthed from innovation and a new world. So I feel like it is a sign of the times. Like crypto is a sign of the times, especially the level and the stage that it is in this very moment. Literally, like today, March 14th, 2024. Like this is a sign of the times right now, today. And I'm really excited. I'm really excited to keep talking about it. I'm really excited to make more correlations. I feel like there's so much to learn. And I'm really excited to be crypto rich. Most of all, I'm excited to get crypto rich. What do you think, Andrew? Anything else that I should bring up?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Bringing people the information is really important, and it's a new and collaborative space that allows for massive amounts of wealth to be transferred into new hands. Anyone can take part in it.
Right.
It's not a traditional closed financial system, and this is the first opportunity really people have had in a very, very long time to ever beat Wall Street to the punch.
Damn.
On, anything financial, and people should take advantage of that.
And that's the other thing too, is like when I hear Wall Street, I like automatically tune out. I'm not participating in that conversation. I don't have a place there. I don't have an outfit for it. Like I wouldn't be able to show up there. But this is bringing it here to me with the meme. That's what makes me excited. It's like, even when I said earlier how Gen Z is shifting marketing, right? And something that came up the other day when Will was looking at the chart, he was like, oh, this one has no socials. So it's like the marketing experience for the customer is so important that there's all these different concepts. There's all these different elements that go into either building a coin or standing behind a coin or supporting a coin, even learning just what a coin is. Another thing, Andrew just said, it's a collaborative concept and it's a collaborative world, I would say, in crypto. And I know that I've had this experience in the music space where it's like everyone's making music, right? So everyone is in that same space, but people don't always like each other, and they're just there because they want to make music and they like making music, but they're not really good at the socializing aspect. And when I was a manager, I would tell my artists like all the time, you have to socialize with these people. You should make friends with these people. Try to find this common ground with these people. And I feel like something about crypto that really that is really attractive to me is the community aspect. And I feel like there will be people that support your brand already that will buy into the crypto because they love you. But then there's also going to be crypto people that really believe in the project that will conversely start believing in your brand. So there's so many angles to creating and sustaining your community that you already have, and then expanding into a new community with cash in hand that's ready to buy in. So all of it is very proportionate with the times. It's very valuable, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be obsessed with something new, other than TikTok, other than Shetty Bay, other than TikTok influencers. So, yeah, that's all I got today.
Go walk up there. You gotta say bye to the people. You gotta say bye to the people. It's gonna be an awkward.
Just walk up.
Yeah, kneel down a little bit.
We'll see you guys on next episode.